So how many minutes do you want to do this for?
10, no more. 15,
Oh,
no more.
wow. Okay.
Or we can go longer.
No.
Okay.
Shorter.
It looks like we're going live. Let me just make sure, and then I can record as well.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, there you are. We're live.
Super.
Let me hit record because I do want a recording of this. Okay, everybody. I'm Virginia. I'm here in Athens, Greece, and I'm joined by Ali Middleton from the West Indies at the moment, who's normally a New Yorker. And we're making this Facebook Live because there's a number of things going on in the world. So we're going to be talking about those in a minute. But first, I wanted to tell you that you might be aware by now, after Steve's post, that the Facebook group will be closing. And Embodiment Unlimited wanting to kind of start moving away from big tech. We're finding that it's not a very embodying experience having how can I say, combative posts draw attention in, and then you engage, and then by the time you've left, you're feeling worse than you came in, which is not very embodying, not good for embodiment. So we created our own portal, a place with other people who are really interested in embodiment, in all things embodiment, and you can have a free account for yourself, connect with other members of the community. You can interact with private messages or join discussion groups and forums, and also have access to a bunch of our free stuff, which is there in the portal, as well as the Embodiment Studio, in which you get amazing teachers like Paul Linden, Kathleen Booker, Mr. Embodiment himself, Mark Walsh, doing coaching every Thursday. And I am joined by Ali Middleton, who is having a class on embodied leadership every Monday, co-hosted with Eddie Pasalis at 5 p.m. UK. That's noon East EST, isn't it, Ali?
That's right.
So we just wanted to bring your attention to this offering and invite you over to the classes, which are by donation, and they're great stuff. And also, when we scheduled this live, we were not aware. We were hoping there wouldn't be this kind of news that we are faced with in the world right now, aka a war breaking out. So I wanted to, I'll pass it on to you, Ali. I want to start with that, I think, because, you know, a lot of us have Ukrainian and Russian friends that are being impacted.
We do, Virginia. So let's just all take a moment and become more aware together of the suffering that's going on in a particular place and many other places as well. Having been in Kyiv many years ago as a delegation of youth peace workers, I saw this morning that there is continuing to be efforts for peace on the planet. And the best that we can do is to continue to hope and do the inner work, to stay very clear in our minds and in our hearts, to help move through this difficult time and to hope for the best, and to also know that many, many peace delegations will be beginning. I know Mark has started something as well. So a deep bow.
On that. Yeah, Mark is indeed having, Paul Linden is having a studio class, his scheduled studio class on his embodied peacemaking method tonight at 5 p.m. UK. And he's being joined by Mark, and they're also doing an extra special session being organized as we speak tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. UK with Russian and Ukrainian translators, and they'll be offering their perspectives on the situation and some tools, hopefully, for people to deal with it.
So one of the ways in embodied leadership, at least the style that I offer and Edie also offers in her very own way, is to bring in this quality of the aesthetics of cultures who are now in great conflict. But when we learn to work from the inside out, that there's a peaceful quality that emerges. I'm also a poet as well as a long-term somatic coach and yoga educator. And Virginia asked that I read a poem to start. So this is entitled Refuge Weavers. So those of you who have had a long-term practice, you know the quality of refuge or of resting in being that we come to when we do commit to a long-term practice. So here it goes. Guardians of the light, with hearts as healer, spines as support, now rooted in earth together, breath as the intimate touchstone, welcoming energies within and without together. The new score emerges, aligning and attuning to what is around, up and down, inside and out, and all around. We are all together. We sit to stand, to lie down, to travel through time and space together. New rhythms, unraveling the old, unweaving patterns, and welcoming the new treasures together. So this welcoming of the new treasures together is this quality of heart-centered leadership, that embodied leadership with all of the tools and qualities that are coming alive through the planet, through so many traditions, are represented actually in this book. 36 different yogis from India to Japan to Brazil to the US, the UK, Netherlands, all tell their stories of awakening into a community action plan based upon their individual process. And so as we all learn from the inside out these days, Virginia, in these circles through these 2 years that I've been volunteering, we are coming together as a new embodied society, and it takes time. So this is what Edie and I are offering, and many others in the circles as well, this capacity to be together and to learn from the inside out, so that we're not walking around as these rental cars, you know, not respecting our bodies, not respecting the earth. That's what we're doing in awakening this personal body awareness so that we can connect through these collective new rhythms that unravel the old, and we welcome the new treasures together.
Wow, thank you. And that's the book there, Yoga Radicals, that you're holding.
Yeah.
And we'll put links in the chat for that. So we were talking just before the call about, you were saying something that I can't exactly reproduce, but it's better in your own words, about from inside out, from bottom up.
Yes. So let's just play with that for a minute, Virginia. As I'm standing and I'm kind of leaning in, you know, the way that we lean in and out of these little Zoom rooms that we're all in. And when we do that from a full body awareness, we're not thinking about how we look or, you know, is the hair good, or, oh my gosh, did I forget something? It's that we're actually being present with each other. And this inside out learning capacity is truly about the felt sense, this inside out quality of knowing from the place of confidence and of purposeful action. That's the leadership creativity. This is a dominant skill that's been missing, that people just aren't in their bodies as they create new things. That's what we use in the old yogic terminology as this lack of connection to the divine, or connection to these other qualities that come from the ancient traditions. In science today, they've been discovering all sorts of things, from neuroscience to interoception, proprioception, all these big words, right? But the real deal is, what does it feel like when I actually honor and then try from not knowing, from the place of not knowing, so that we can enable a new quality of collective creativity. That's what I do in the organizational work that my beloved Newell and I work on together with companies and teams. And I believe that over these last couple of years with Corona forcing us into some kind of isolation, we've all been on a long-term meditation retreat. We've had to learn to let go. And so what remains? What remains? What remains is this capacity to actually know and feel and see and sense from our heart's intelligence. That's the quality of being present from this inside out sensing practice. We're not thinking, we're not even emoting. It's a sensing, it's this felt sense practice that we try to learn from. And that's the edge of creative embodied leadership. And that's where we have to learn to let go and actually practice a little conscious risk taking while having a good alignment and a desire to actually do good. That's that hope, the inner work of hoping that we can connect to this emerging future with a positive spin and not rushing into it. Remember that part. This takes time because sometimes we're working on injuries. Sometimes there's natural cultural or family trauma. That's natural. And now with this collective trauma that's present on the planet, what are the small steps that we can each learn to take? And that's what Edie and I are practicing together in the embodied leadership. Just a small little snippet of what does it feel like to have a personal practice, very, very aligned and attuned, and then to extend the awareness into, well, how might I actually help? What's the collaboration capacity here? And that's this new time of learning how to be in diversity with people we may have never met in order to create these new systems, these new social bodies, we like to call them, this capacity of a new team. And that's, in fact, what Embodiment Unlimited has been doing, creating a new source of resilience and also of creativity. That's how I've been watching it and trying to nourish it in my own way. And now with Edie, it's so thrilling to have her in.
And there's a lot of other good teachers. And thank you for speaking to that, Ali, because we have been experiencing this since the breakout of the pandemic, that people came together, embodiment teachers from different places came together. So Paul Linden is coming from a martial arts background and a linguistics and philosophy background academically. And Kathleen Booker is a breath worker. And we have you and Edie and Laura Ward, and who's a dancer and Laban system teacher, and many other things. Mark Walsh is an embodiment coach, and there's many, many more. I can't name all of them. There's 20 and more teachers on the studio. And we have been experiencing this building of community, and a lot of people involved report the connection, the community, and that's so, so important in these times.
So let's do a little imagination, Virginia. So as you brought your hands together like that, you know, that's a natural mudra, which we use in the ancient practices. It's so beautiful to see this natural connection that we can play with when we work through the little Zoom rooms and as we miss each other, but we can still assemble, right? We can gather the forces of this capacity to be connected through the body, through the ways in which the body learns to be actually a vessel for the transmission of the wisdom, not the thinking about or the describing or the explaining, but actually demonstrating through movement. And this is what's different about the presencing approach. It's not a yoga class per se, it's an embodied inquiry around how might I move from a place of me, right? That place of me-ness, not an ego place, but more centered in the self, into this collective awareness. And what are the ways in which we can learn how to do that? So this idea and capacity of what you're talking about, this connection, right? This what is my offer from my most authentic, maybe even very wounded, maybe broken or fragmented self. That's natural. None of us are working in any kind of sense of feeling whole these days. And we know that there's a capacity as we work together, that something new is being nourished. And that's part of what this work is about. We combine this idea of being present, right? This is this resting in being, with sensing. And that's this inside out, more proprioceptive, more interoceptive. Really, it's the neurology where we begin to shine out, just like you were doing, into the field. And that's where we begin to realize, oh my gosh, there's something here. And then we lean in and we say, I'm smelling something, I taste something different. There's something unusual here. What is that? We don't need to name it, but that's the field of inquiry.
So if you're interested in this, and I can hear you talking, Ali, for ages, and I can do practice with you for even longer, because I love your practices. But there's much less talking in the classes. There's more experiential embodiment tools that you go through and little teachings. So do come in, and we'll be pasting links in the chat for that, in the comments below, in the Facebook as well. So come and join us. Let's get together in these times to support each other and to try and make a better world. If you show that again, Ali, I can't see it. Yoga Radical. That's the book for those of you who like poetry. I loved Ali reading some of those poems during the Shavasana after practice. Looking forward to that again. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you all of you live in the classes. Thank you for coming on board, Ali, and having this little chat. And I hope it's inspiring and resourcing for some of you out there.